Hello, I'm Robert Killen, Director of the Lane Small Business Development Center, and this is a Lane Business Update for Thursday, December 3rd. Today I finally get to share about that $55 million grant program that's been talked about from the governor's office for several weeks. We finally have the details on what that program is going to look like. I received an email with those details in the last couple hours, and the application window actually opens at 5. In fact, it opened 20 minutes ago. But don't worry. Unlike the last program, which had an application window that was only open for 30 minutes because it got rushed with applications, in this case, they will take everybody who applies between now and when the application window closes in 10 days. And everyone who applies will have a more or less equal opportunity or equal chance at the funds. I say more or less because there is a priority set aside for this program, which I'll discuss in a few minutes. I just wanted to go through the email that I received, share with you the details of this program so that you know what to expect. So let's dive in. So at the start, they announced that it did open. The application went live at 5 p.m. today at Community Lending Works. The link to this is in the first comment below this video, so you can find it there. And it will remain open through Sunday, December 13th. So you have a full week plus a few days to get this application in. And even better news, the application is supposed to only take 5 minutes to complete. In fact, I heard from a representative at the county that at 5 minutes is far more than you'll probably need for this particular application. A lot of this application is self-certified, meaning that you are telling them things that are true, and they're not going to be looking heavily into it because they simply can't take the time. So be honest, but do apply because it is a very simple application. After the application closes, there's going to be a two-phase lottery system, and this is where I described a set-aside for specific business types, and I'll talk more about that in just a second. But before I get to that, grant amounts. Grant amounts are generous in this program. They start at $7,500 for a sole proprietor and go all the way up to $25,000 for a business with 25 or fewer employees in 4 different tiers. If you have more than 25 employees, unfortunately, you are not eligible for this program. General eligibility requirements include you have to be adversely impacted by COVID. And what that means is either you are directly prohibited from operating due to executive orders by the state. So that would include gyms, indoor recreation, businesses of that type that were actually told to close, or you can demonstrate a 1-month decline in sales of 25% or more during March, the months of March through November in 2020 as compared to that same time period in 2019. So they're saying a 1-month decline in sales. So what this means is that, for example, let's say in the month of May of 2019, you had $20,000 in sales. Okay, you just use a round number there. So you had $20,000 of sales in May of 2019. A 25% decline would be $15,000. You would have declined, your sales would have reduced by $5,000. So if in 2020 your revenue in May of 2020 was $15,000 or less, you've got a 25% or more decline in your revenue for that month. You can check all of your months. Chances are 2020 has been such a weird year, and if you're looking for funds, you'll be able to certify that pretty easily. So those are the 2 ways you can show that you've been adversely affected. The rest of these things are all very simple. Your business has to be located in Lane County. It's registered with the state if it's required to be. If you've received federal dollars or other state dollars through previous programs, you still qualify for this program. So unlike all of the rest that had many exclusions, they're trying to make as many organizations eligible, as many businesses eligible as possible for this. Now I say that, and I have to point out that 501c6 entities are not eligible. I'm sorry to all of my chamber friends and other C6s, but 501c3s are. So if you have any questions about this, you can reach out to me. You could reach out to Community Lending Works and we can help you out. So here's where that 2-phase lottery comes into play. Priority eligible businesses they're setting aside 70% of the total fund for these businesses. These are businesses that have been most critically impacted by COVID and by the restrictions that have come around as a result of COVID. So, businesses in tourism, hospitality, events, those that had to close their doors, as we already described, gyms, indoor recreation, museums, etc. Businesses that identify as minority owned, women owned, service disabled or veteran owned. Those businesses, because those demographics have not done as well accessing funds. That's been proven through the data. And then rural businesses. This is exciting. At least it's exciting for rural, that businesses that are outside the city limits of Eugene and Springfield are in this priority eligible cohort. So what they're doing is they're setting aside 75% of the total amount in a separate fund, and they're going to take a look at all of the businesses, all of the applications that meet these eligibility criteria as priority businesses, and they get their own lottery. Presuming all of those funds get used up, then there will be a second lottery for everybody else, and for those who didn't get the first funds. So everybody else will be in that second pool. If there's money left over from the first lottery, that money will get bundled with the remaining 25% for the rest of the businesses. Now, you can do the math and imagine that most of this money is probably going to go to these priority eligible businesses. So if you're not in that group, you might wonder, should I apply? My recommendation is absolutely do apply. With an application that is that easy, you don't have anything to lose. Less than 5 minutes of your day to make the application is definitely worth it, so do apply. If you have any questions, the final thing here, Community Lending Works does anticipate that funds will be distributed the last week of December through mid-January. So they're trying to turn these around fairly quickly. That might not be fast enough for some of you. You'd like it faster, but it is better than we've seen some of the other programs, certainly the federal programs that took much longer to actually get dispersed. So with that, my recommendation is, regardless of your business, if you have 25 or fewer employees and you're in Lane County, apply. Even if you're not one of those priority eligible businesses, apply. You've got nothing to lose in this process. If you have any questions about this, leave a comment below or reach out to me directly. I'm happy to engage in conversation about this. And until next time, cheers.